Okay, so I'm going to go through a series of reshoots here because if you've seen the report for July, you'll know why. Essentially, I've had some damp issues in the shed and I had to clear everything out, and I expected it to only take a couple of days. In the end it took almost 2 weeks, so I didn't get time to come down the shed and reshoot these ones that had gone a bit funny. So I've got 8 stitches to reshoot, so it shouldn't be too difficult, and I'm going to slot these in where I've moved other stitches out of the way, so it's going to make sense, honest. Right, okay, so starting with a straight stitch. Now this is what it says on the tin, essentially. You start with 2 concentric circles and you stitch from one circle to the other in a straight line. So that is a straight stitch. The gaps at the top are slightly wider, but you come in close at the bottom. It's kind of like a dandelion. So that's a very basic straight stitch. Now with kind of the next stage on to a straight stitch is a raised straight stitch, which is just simply the same thing but you lift up the thread, you raise your stitch, not very much, you don't need a lot of height on these, but something you need to be aware of is not pulling the raised stitch down when you pull out your excess, like that. The same again, going from the outside to the inside. And then if you use the stitch you've already got there to give you something to pull against. So that creates a raised stitch which gives you a kind of a 3D flower. If you want to, you can use a dowel or something like that to sit underneath them to stop them from pulling through. It's entirely up to you. Now with this you can advance it to something like an apple blossom. So here I've got the central centre and then 5 points. So basically going to start the same way. It's the same kind of thing. So a straight stitch, and then turn your needle around and lift it slightly, and then stitch in from the top. Again, be careful as you pull through, close to the bottom. And just make sure that's lifted the same amount. So an apple blossom, you can do any number of stitches you want. Odd number is obviously better because they'll be balanced. Each stitch is slightly shorter than the previous on either side. So I'm going to go for a 5 here because I think that looks quite nice at this size. Pulled that through properly. Okay. So again, you've got to be aware of the tension you're adding and keeping everything balanced as you go. Try and keep the top of the stitch as close together as possible. That makes the next stage a little easier. So here's my 5 stitches. I've just made a simple petal. Now you come in with either a lighter or a darker colour. Ideally the same shade, or same colour in general, so I'm doing purple so that you can see what I'm doing. So I've come up about halfway through the middle stitch and then down just beyond it. So if you're using a lighter pink, this gives it a more accurate apple blossom look. And then come in either side of your lowest stitch and then come back up under this middle stitch here and do a fly stitch, which I think I should have showed you my layer. And that just finishes off the tip of the petal like that. And then once you've done all 5 of those, you can go around the bottom edge and just stick in a stitch of green just to create some separation between the petals. So that's a straight stitch and an apple blossom.